Here's what most people don't realize about being a great cat parent. Your cat already knows you are one, and they've been telling you for years, in a language most owners never learn to read. The signs on this list aren't about the things you spend money on or the routines you follow. They're behavioral signatures, physiological responses your cat produces specifically because of you that animal behaviorists say are among the most reliable indicators of a deep, secure, lasting bond. And what will genuinely surprise you is that several of these signs look like absolutely nothing. They look like ordinary moments. But to your cat, they're everything. Most people think being a great cat parent is measured by what they provide. The quality of food, the vet schedule, the cat tree by the window. And those things matter. But here's what most owners miss. The real proof that you're doing this right isn't found in your purchase history. It's found in your cat's body, in the way they hold their tail when they walk past you, and where they choose to go when something frightens them, in what they do when you sit down quietly at the end of the day. Your cat has been evaluating you since the moment they arrived in your home, running a constant, instinct-level assessment. And most owners live their entire lives together without ever knowing how that evaluation turned out. Here's something to hold on to as we go through this. There's one sign near the end of this list that almost no cat owner would ever identify as a sign of good parenting. It doesn't involve any specific action, any product, or any particular skill. But researchers who study the cat-human bond say it may be the clearest indicator that your cat trusts you at the deepest neurological level. We'll get there. And when we do, something your cat has been doing quietly, possibly for years, will finally make complete sense. So let's start with the sign that surprises people most. 1. You've created spaces in your home where your cat can disappear. In a moment, I'm going to tell you what those hiding spots actually do to your cat's nervous system, and it goes much further than most people expect. But first, here's the part most owners never think about. Most people who leave out a cardboard box, clear a shelf, or let their cat retreat under the bed think they're just being accommodating. They think of it as a quirk they've adapted to. What they don't realize is that they've just done something a behavioral researcher would specifically be looking for when assessing the quality of a cat's living environment. A 2019 study published in the journal Applied Animal Behavior Science found that cats with consistent access to hiding spaces showed measurably lower cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, than cats in the same environments without them. Not slightly lower, significantly lower. To your cat, a hiding spot isn't optional comfort. It's a neurological necessity. Even after thousands of years of domestication, the feline nervous system still processes the world the way a small predator does, as a landscape of potential threats that requires constant monitoring. A place to retreat isn't running away. It's being able to exhale. When you've created those spaces, you've told your cat something profound in the only language their body understands. I see what you need, even when you can't ask for it. Most owners see a cat hiding and call it antisocial behavior. They take it personally. They wonder what they did wrong. You recognize it as something your cat needed and made room for it. That is not a small distinction. 2, your cat eats on a schedule and you're the one who keeps it. Here's what most people don't realize about a consistent feeding schedule. It isn't really about nutrition. It's about something much more fundamental to how cats experience the world. In the wild, a cat's survival depends on predictability, not of the environment, which is always uncertain, but of themselves, knowing when to hunt, when to rest, when to be alert. Domesticated cats have replaced the hunt with you. And when you show up with food at the same time every single day, you're not just filling a bowl, you're becoming part of their internal rhythm. You're becoming something they can count on. A 2017 study found that cats with consistent daily feeding schedules showed significantly lower anxiety-related behaviors and significantly stronger bonding behaviors toward their owners, including head bunting, voluntary proximity, and slow blinking compared to cats fed on irregular schedules. To your cat, your consistency isn't administrative, it's emotional. Every time you show up on time, you're making a quiet but powerful statement. I am reliable. And for an animal whose ancestors survived by being able to read exactly who and what was safe in the world around them, reliability is the foundation of everything. Most owners feed their cats without ever understanding what they're actually building. You've been building trust every single day. 3. You maintain your cat's litter box and you pay attention to what you find there. Here's something most owners never connect to their cat's health, but it might be the most important daily habit on this entire list. Here's what most people don't realize. The litter box is the single most information-rich health diagnostic tool in your home. Changes in frequency, consistency, or location of elimination can be early indicators of urinary tract infections, kidney disease, diabetes, and anxiety disorders, conditions that cats are biologically wired to conceal from everyone around them. This instinct goes back thousands of years. In the wild, any visible sign of illness or weakness makes a small predator vulnerable to becoming prey. The drive to mask pain is so deep that by the time most owners notice something is wrong, the condition has often been building for weeks, sometimes longer. But if you've been maintaining a clean litter box consistently, and you've developed a sense of what normal looks like for your specific cat, you've become something your cat's own instincts can't provide for themselves. An early detection system. You're watching over them in the one place their body tells the truth when nothing else will. Most owners clean the litter box because it smells. You clean it because you care about what it tells you. That is a genuinely different relationship with the same task. And your cat's health has almost certainly been better for it in ways you'll never fully see. 4. You're the one who makes playtime happen. Here's where it gets really interesting, because play for a cat is not recreation, it's biology. Every time your cat stalks a toy, crouches low, pounces, bats, or carries something in their mouth, they're running the same neurological sequence their ancestors used to survive. The predatory sequence stalk, chase, pounce, grab, bite is hardwired into the feline nervous system, and when that sequence never gets to complete itself, something goes wrong. A 2021 paper in the journal Scientific Reports found that cats who engaged in regular active play sessions with their owners showed significantly fewer problematic behaviors, aggression, excessive vocalization, destructive behavior than cats who didn't. But more importantly, it found that play with a human specifically strengthened the social bond in ways that solo play simply did not. To your cat, play is collaborative. When you're on the other end of the wand toy, you're not just entertainment, you're a hunting partner. In cat language, that puts you in a category of relationship that reaches back hundreds of thousands of years into feline social behavior. Every play session you initiate teaches your cat something at a neurological level. This person shows up for me. This person is worth paying attention to. Most owners buy toys and leave them on the floor. You pick them up, you show up, and your cat has been registering that difference every single time. And if this is making you see the ordinary things you do for your cat in a completely different way, hit subscribe. This channel exists to help cat owners understand what their cats have genuinely been trying to communicate. And there's a great deal more of this coming. 5. You've learned when not to touch your cat. This is the sign that separates good cat owners from genuinely great ones. And most people get it exactly backwards for their entire relationship. There's something researchers call the petting-induced overstimulation threshold, the point at which sensory input crosses from pleasant to overwhelming for a cat. Every cat has one, and every cat's threshold is different. Researchers at the University of Lincoln found that cats who were allowed to control the initiation, duration, and ending of physical contact with their owners showed dramatically lower stress hormone levels and significantly stronger positive affiliation with their owners than cats whose physical contact was human-controlled. Let that land for a second. The cats whose owners knew when to stop touching them trusted their owners more. Not less, more. To your cat, restraint is a language. When you notice the skin beginning to ripple along their back, when you see the tail start to flick, when you catch that particular stillness in their body before the tension builds and you stop, you've just said something your cat understands completely. I hear you. I'm not going to push past what you're telling me. You are safe here. Most owners take it personally when their cat pulls away. They interpret it as rejection, as evidence that their cat is cold or ungrateful. Here's the thing. A cat who communicates that honestly is a cat who trusts you enough to be direct. They don't freeze and endure. They tell you. And the fact that you listen is the whole relationship. Now, there's something I want to weave through the second half of this list. A particular kind of owner I hear from fairly often. They do everything right, the hiding spots, the feeding schedule, the play sessions, all of it. And they still wonder whether their cat actually loves them. Because their cat doesn't follow them room to room, doesn't curl up on them at night, sits in a chair across the room and watches quietly from a distance without ever crossing it. And this owner starts to believe, maybe we just don't have that kind of relationship. Maybe my cat is simply tolerating me. That story has a very specific answer, and we'll get there. 6. Your cat moves towards you when something frightens them. The next sign is the one most owners completely overlook, and it happens in the moments when your cat needs you most. When something startles your cat, a loud noise, an unfamiliar visitor, a sudden movement from somewhere unexpected, watch where they go. If they move toward you, even just into the same room as you, that behavioral choice carries profound weight. It means that when your cat's nervous system enters a genuine threat response state, you are part of what makes that threat tolerable. On a neurological level, you have become a safe base. A 2019 study from the University of Oregon tested this directly. Cats whose owners had built a strong bond used their human as a genuine emotional anchor. During stressful situations, the owner's presence measurably reduced the cat's physiological stress response. Not just behavioral stress, physiological. Your cat's body calms down because you're there. In evolutionary terms, no small prey animal voluntarily moves toward another creature during a threat response unless that creature has been assessed over time through repeated experience as genuinely safe. When your cat moves toward you when they're scared, they're not being clingy. They have made a deliberate, instinct-level decision about who you are. And that decision was built from 1,000 small moments of you getting it right when it mattered. 7. Your home has vertical territory, and your cat actually uses it. Here's what most people miss about cat trees: wall shelves and window perches. They're not primarily about physical enrichment. They're about psychological architecture. Cats are simultaneously predator and prey. That dual evolutionary identity means the feline nervous system is always running 2 programs at once, scanning for opportunity and scanning for threat. Height solves both problems simultaneously. From an elevated position, a cat can observe their entire territory, monitor every movement in the household, and process potentially alarming activity from a position of safety. A 2015 study found that cats in multi-person or multi-pet households with consistent access to elevated spaces showed significantly lower stress markers than cats in the same environments without vertical territory. When you've installed a cat tree or cleared a shelf for your cat, you've reduced a constant low-grade tension that most owners don't even know their cat is carrying every day. You've given them a place to watch over their world without feeling anxious about what they can't see. To your cat, that elevated spot isn't furniture. It's their watchtower, their sense of control over an environment that can feel relentlessly unpredictable. Most owners walk past it without a second thought. Your cat sits up there and feels safe. You made that possible. 8. Your cat has brought you something. Stay with me on this one, because it almost never gets explained correctly, and most owners completely misread it when it happens. If your cat has ever dropped a toy at your feet, carried a small object to where you're sleeping, or presented you with something they found, including, yes, an insect, which is a gift, full stop, most owners treat it as random or slightly baffling behavior. It isn't random. In feline social structure, the transfer of prey is one of the most significant bonding behaviors that exists. Mother cats transfer prey to their kittens to teach and care for them. Closely bonded adult cats do it for each other as an act of genuine care. When your cat brings something to you, they are placing you inside that category of relationship. In the architecture of their instincts, they are providing for you. This goes back hundreds of thousands of years of feline social evolution. The impulse to provision the beings you're bonded to is ancient and deep. And here's what most owners never realize. If your cat has ever brought you something, they weren't being strange. They were being as affectionate as their entire evolutionary history knows how to be. They were giving you everything they had. 9. You let your cat come to you. This is more rare than it sounds, and it accumulates into something enormous over time. When you come home, when you sit down at the end of the day, When you enter a room where your cat is resting, if you've developed the habit of waiting rather than immediately reaching for them, of sitting quietly and letting them decide whether and when to approach, you've been doing something that directly shapes the long-term security of your cat's attachment to you. A 2020 study from Oregon State University confirmed that cats form secure and insecure attachment styles with their owners in remarkably similar ways to how human children form attachments to their primary caregivers. And one of the strongest predictors of secure attachment was owner sensitivity, specifically the ability to let the cat lead the interaction. Every time you sat quietly while your cat approached at their own pace, you are teaching them something at a level that goes deeper than behavior. In this relationship, you have agency. You are not managed, you are not grabbed, you are respected. That lesson doesn't stay in a single interaction, it compounds. Over months, over years, it becomes the emotional architecture of your entire bond. It becomes the specific reason your cat chooses to be near you, even when they need absolutely nothing from you. 10. Your cat slow blinks at you. What I'm about to describe is something most owners see regularly and completely misinterpret. Direct eye contact between cats functions as a challenge or a threat. Holding a steady gaze is aggressive, signaling a statement of dominance or territorial intent. So when your cat makes eye contact with you and then slowly, deliberately closes their eyes or looks away, they are doing something that carries genuine behavioral significance. They are voluntarily lowering their defensive alertness with you present. They're signaling, I am not in threat mode with you. I don't need to stay vigilant here. With you, I can let my eyes close. A 2020 study published in Scientific Reports tested this exchange directly and confirmed that owners who slow blinked at their cats received significantly more slow blinks in return than owners who maintained a neutral expression. The exchange was real, bidirectional, mutually recognized. Your cat knows you're speaking their language, and they answer. In cat language, a slow blink is the body saying, with you, I can breathe. Think about what it means that this is happening in your living room, in your daily life, in the ordinary moments you share together. Most owners see it and smile without understanding what they've just been told. 11. You've adjusted your home around your cat's preferences without being asked. The door you leave cracked at night, the particular blanket that stays on a specific chair, the window you keep accessible during the day. The fact that you've learned which sounds startle them, and you've adjusted your own behavior accordingly, quietly, without ever making it a project. Most owners who do these things have stopped noticing that they do them. The adjustments have become automatic. Intuitive. That's exactly the point. A 2022 study from Lincoln University found that owners who scored highest on what researchers called cat-directed sensitivity, the ability to notice and respond to a cat's individual preferences without explicit prompting, had cats who showed the strongest secure attachment behaviors of any group in the study. The most attuned owners had the most emotionally settled cats, not because they spent the most money or followed the most advice, because they paid attention persistently over time to what their specific cat needed. Most cat owners go their cat's entire life without developing this attunement. You've been building it quietly, in 100 small moments, and your cat has been tracking every single one. 12. Your cat needs on or near you. Here's the evolutionary layer that changes how you understand this entirely. Needing begins in kittenhood. Nursing kittens press rhythmically against their mother to stimulate milk flow. It's one of the first purposeful actions they ever take. The behavior is neurologically encoded alongside warmth, nourishment, physical safety, and the emotional experience of being completely secure with another living being. When adult cats need, and they only do so in states of deep relaxation, they are not simply stretching their paws. They are accessing, on a neurological level, the emotional memory of the safest moment their body has ever known. The fact that your cat does this near you or directly on you means something very specific. You have been woven into that neurological safety template. Your presence, your warmth, your particular scent has been encoded at a deep and involuntary level with the same emotional state as the first experience of safety your cat ever had. you are not just their owner. In the actual architecture of their nervous system, you are the living embodiment of being okay. 13. You can see stress in your cat before it escalates. Here's where it gets really interesting because this is one of the rarest skills a cat owner can develop, and most never do. Cats communicate stress through a cascade of signals that progress from subtle to unmistakable. Flattened ears, skin rippling across the back, a low carried or tucked tail, dilated pupils in normal light, hiding, reduced appetite, excessive grooming of one spot, redirected aggression. Most owners don't recognize these signals until the cat has reached behavioral expression, a scratch, a hiss, illumination outside the box. By that point, the cat has been communicating for hours, sometimes days. The message was there. Nobody was reading it. Most owners go their cat's entire life responding to the escalation rather than the signal. If you've developed the ability to catch the early signs, the subtle ear rotation, the slight tension in the tail, the way your cat holds their body differently when something in the environment has shifted, you've given your cat something genuinely rare, an owner who hears them before they have to shout. That kind of attunement doesn't just prevent problems, it builds a very specific kind of trust. Your cat begins to learn over time that with you, they don't have to escalate to be understood. And now, remember earlier when I mentioned the owner whose cat watches from across the room, who never follows, never seeks contact, just sits quietly in their chair and observes from a distance, and this owner has been wondering for years whether their cat actually loves them. 14. Your cat chooses to be in the same room as you without needing anything from you. This is the one. This is what I was talking about from the very beginning. Here's what most owners miss, and missing it means missing the most direct declaration a cat is capable of making. Cats are solitary hunters by evolutionary design. Unlike dogs, who evolved in social packs with a biological drive for proximity and group belonging, cats have no hardwired need to be near another creature. Zero. Every single decision your cat makes about proximity is a choice. A deliberate, continuously updated assessment of whether being near a particular being is safe, comfortable, and worth the vulnerability it requires. And if your cat is in the room with you, even across the room, even without making physical contact, even just existing in the same space while you read or work or sit quietly, they have completed that assessment. They have decided that being near you is worth it. A 2015 study from the University of Vienna found that the strongest predictor of a cat's bond with a particular human wasn't physical affection, it wasn't interactive play, it was voluntary proximity without agenda. Cats spent the most time near the humans who weren't always trying to engage with them, who were simply present, reliable, there. To your cat, the willingness to share space is trust made visible. It is an ongoing, conscious choice, repeated every single day. In every moment, they decide to settle into the same room as you rather than the dozen other rooms available to them. That cat, watching quietly from across the room, isn't indifferent. They're not tolerating you. They're telling you, in the clearest terms, their entire evolutionary history makes available to them exactly what you mean. The owner who worried their cat was just getting by with them, their cat had been making this choice every single day, choosing the same room, choosing proximity, choosing them. They just didn't know how to see it. 15. You're watching this video. Here's the thing about cat owners who are genuinely great at this. They never stop wondering if they could be better. Not because they're failing, because they care enough to keep asking the question. The fact that you're here working through what your cat's body language actually communicates, what the science behind the bond really says, what signals you might have been walking past every day without knowing what they meant, that is itself evidence of who you are to your cat. Most cats will live 10, 15, sometimes 20 years with their person. For your cat, there is no larger world than the one the two of you share. The entire architecture of what feels safe and what feels threatening, the deepest associations their nervous system will ever form, the shape of what it means to be at home in the world, all of it builds in relationship to the life you create together. Every small thing you've gotten right has mattered more than you'll ever fully know. The hiding spot, the schedule, the moment you put the toy down and waited. The slow blink you return across a quiet room. So the next time your cat settles across the room and watches you quietly from a distance, and you find yourself wondering if that means anything, you already know the answer now. They chose to be where you are, in the only language they have. They've been saying it all along.